Good afternoon. We want to get straight to new developments out of Carroll County from the Delphi murders trial. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Felicia Lawrence.
And I'm Dustin Grove. Day one about to wrap up. It's been a full one, from opening statements to the prosecution's first witness taking the stand. We have team coverage inside and outside the courtroom.
And we actually start this afternoon with Anne-Marie Tiernan. She is live in Delphi. Anne-Marie, can you fill us in on what you've learned?
Well, good afternoon to both of you. We're live outside the Carroll County Courthouse. We are in downtown Delphi, and this is a day that many people thought would never come. So many delays to get to this point, but finally underway today, the trial with opening statements. Bob Siegel was in the courtroom as family members from the victims testified today. Here's his report.
The jury is going to have a lot to consider. That is extremely clear after just a few hours here into day one of this trial. Here is what's happened so far. The judge started out by giving the jury its instructions. Then we heard opening statements from the prosecutor and defense, and now we're on to witnesses as the state goes first in presenting its case. During opening statements, prosecutor McLeland told the jury they're going to see gruesome photos of the crime scene where the girls' bodies were found. They'll hear from witnesses who will place Richard Allen at the crime scene, and they'll hear Richard Allen's confessions about the murders, confessions that the prosecutor says only the killer would know. He told the jury the last face the girls saw before their throats were slit was Richard Allen's face. Then the jury heard a very different story during the defense's opening statement. They called the state's investigation into Richard Allen messed up from the beginning, telling jurors Richard Allen is truly innocent. There is reasonable doubt. And attorney Andrew Baldwin told the jury when they hear evidence about phone data involving Libby German's cell phone, he said the state's case is going to fall apart before your very eyes. Then we heard from our first witness, Becky Patty, the grandmother of Libby German. She explained how Libby and Abby were best friends who had a sleepover at her house the night before the murders, how the girls did not show up after their visit to the Monon High bridge, and then the frantic search that took place. She held back tears as she told the jury, we called, we kept calling, and kept calling her granddaughter without any success. Then she broke down into tears, recalling for the jury when she learned that her granddaughter's body had been found. She said, I couldn't understand why they weren't taking me to her. And then I saw the coroner's van drive by, and that's when I realized they were not alive. Emotional testimony right out of the gate here on day one of the trial. The jury has been listening very intently. Richard Allen has been taking notes throughout the testimony. We are going to have much more for you and more on the witnesses here this afternoon coming up on 13 News at 5. In Delphi, Bob Siegel, 13 News.
3, 2.
Thank you so much, Bob. Now, Libby German's sister and her father have also testified today, and we expect that Abby Williams' mother will take the witness stand as well today. So more of that testimony as our coverage continues. Now, a couple house cleaning items and some issues that have happened outside of the courthouse today. One thing, the judge took away the cameras for 3 media organizations, 1 video camera and 2 still cameras. She told the court that they violated her decorum order. Well, what's this all about? There was a bus, a charter bus that was bringing the jurors here to the courthouse today from the hotel in Lafayette, and those cameras were rolling. Police collected those cameras and said they didn't want in any way for there to be any identification of the people that were on that transport. So how those organizations are going to proceed moving forward and trying to get that gear back in coverage is something that we're going to be watching. Also, one of the very first rulings today dealt with those sketches that we have been looking at for years. And they came from police artists who said this is what witnesses said that the suspect in this case looked like. So the ruling this morning was that those sketches would not be allowed in the trial. And it was really interesting for me today as I was going around town today talking to people here about how these different versions of these sketches that we have looked at for 7 years have really had an impact on those here in the community. Families that say that maybe they were considered perhaps to be suspect. These are also people that are wanting to support the families with a seat in the courtroom. One of the people that I talked to today is a woman who is linked to a Facebook page that has been following this case very closely from the beginning. Here's what she said about the sketches and those scarce seats.
But the community should not be taking that beating. Early on, you've seen them match that sketch up with every man that lived in this county. And it's time that their community get to heal with the family. And justice is one way of healing. But if they can't see it with transparency, even 10 members, allow 10 members of the community of Carroll County in that courtroom. Give them 10 chairs, give them 5 at least. Let them come in and see what's going on.
So just to break it down for you, to be clear, there are 72 seats in the courtroom. 30 of them are for the families directly affected by the case, 12 for media. And access to the trial is very important to people that live here. They know these families. They want to support them. There were people that lined up overnight to get these seats, and they feel like at this first day that these are seats that are going to outsiders, and they don't like that, and they're pushing back. That's the latest from Delphi. I'm Anne Marie. Our coverage continues as the news continues this afternoon. Back to you.
All right. Makes a lot of sense, Anne Marie. Thank you so much. These people have been along for the ride. It's been years in the making that they've been waiting for this moment.
And such a small town, less than 3,000 people. We wanted to let you know that as this trial begins, you can join us at 10 p.m. on WTHR Plus for our Delphi debrief show. Bob Siegel, Emily Longnecker, and our legal expert, Katie Jackson-Lindsay. They'll all break down the major developments from the courtroom each evening, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. to keep you up to date with the latest news from this trial. You can download our free streaming app on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku. But that's a really effective way to stay up to date on the highlights and what's happened every day.